And that's live, so we will begin this in 3, 2, 1. This is Life is Leet, episode 20 for June 7, 2014. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Life is Leet, a podcast of nerds yelling at microphones about things. I am Jesse Hanna, and joining me today, as always, is my co-host and my younger brother, Aaron. How are you doing this afternoon?
I am doing... I'm not sure how I'm doing, actually.
You're doing?
I'm doing.
All right,
Let's just leave it at that.
That works for me. That's close enough. So yeah, yep, this is a podcast of nerds yelling at microphones about things. We talk about video games, anime, whatever the heck else we feel like, and holy crap, we're already on episode 20. It's hard to believe we've been doing this for most of this year.
Strangely enough, there hasn't been enough yelling as we advertised there should be.
Well, no, I mean, it's just the tagline. That doesn't matter. It's like how the Instance podcast tagline is, so you don't have to, but people do anyway.
But other people choose to do it anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't have to, but they want to, so they do it anyway.
Right. I mean, if we really didn't have to, we probably wouldn't be doing the show. But we do because we want to, because whatever. So anyway, let's get into what we like to do around here, which is start by talking about video games. Alrighty. So, this week it's mostly been WoW for me. Aaron and I and a friend of ours have been playing our Draenei characters that I think we talked about last week. I think we started those a bit more than a week ago, and I think we talked about them on the previous show. And I've also been playing some Mario Kart 8 still on my Wii U, and that game is outstanding. The graphics in it are amazing. It's maddening when you're in first. It's as maddening as ever when you're in first place and a blue shell comes roaring in right behind you, but so satisfying when you have the the super horn thing, and can just blast it away.
The thing that does the one thing.
Yeah,
makes it so that you don't lose first place.
Exactly right. Yeah, if you have a Wii U and you don't have Mario Kart 8, or if you've been thinking about getting a Wii U, I know Scott Johnson has talked about on some of his shows about how he doesn't have a Wii U yet, but Mario Kart is making it so tempting for him. If you've been thinking about it and haven't pulled the trigger yet, Mario Kart 8 is, as far as I can tell, it's the reason to get a Wii U right now. It's the reason I got a Wii U. It's that good a game. It's awesome. So I highly recommend it. I can't recommend it anymore. Can't possibly recommend it any more than I do. But that's pretty much all I've been up to this week. It's been a little hectic, a lot of stuff going on, but should be starting to cool down soon. Oh, figuratively. I mean, it's summer in Arizona, so we're already well up into the hundreds, but I guess calm down is the word that I'm looking for. I can't words today. Anyway, Aaron, what have you been doing lately?
Like Jess said, I've been playing WoW to an almost unhealthy degree. Except not really unhealthy.
Well, not quite to that degree.
But the other thing than WoW is, so I got a new phone on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Android smartphone. And one night I was just fiddling around with some of the apps through it, and I was looking through the Play Store for games for whatever reason. And I saw Plants vs. Zombies 2 was available on there.
Oh boy.
Which released last year, and it was only on iOS. And apparently sometime between when it released and when I downloaded it, it released for Android. So I saw it and I was like, click the download button.
Yep.
And I haven't played too much of it, but it is pretty fun. If you don't know what Plants vs. Zombies is, it's basically tower defense, in which you use a garden variety of plants to defend yourself from the zombie apocalypse.
Yep.
And in this game, time travel is involved somehow.
Yeah, I've got it on my iPad, so I've played some of it, and it's a fun game.
Yeah, the game is free to play on iOS and Android, but of course, it being an EA game, there's microtransactions, but
Oh yeah.
that it's still a pretty fun game nonetheless if you're looking for a good mobile game, which I'm not a huge mobile game person, but PvZ2 is definitely a good game to play anyways.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's definitely worth checking out if that's the sort of game that you like. We've showed just a bit of the trailer there in the video if you are watching this on YouTube or watching live. So, yeah, definitely go check out that game if you've got an iPhone or Android or something like that. I've got it on my iPad, like I said, and I've played it. It's a lot of fun.
And if you want to play the first game, it's literally on like a bunch of different systems.
It's on just about everything.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I have it on PC because I got it for free.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, that's just one instance. But that's all I've been playing.
Yep. So let's get right into the news, and I think we're starting out with a few things that you wanted to talk about, Aaron.
Well, yeah, 3 of the 4 things I'm going to talk about are stuff that I really want to get up, or stuff that I really want to talk about.
Yep.
First up, E3 is coming up next week.
Woohoo.
Which, of course, is the perfect time for us to get all sorts of interesting new game reveals and hilarious humiliations during the press conferences.
Yes, incredibly awkward moments. There's a video on YouTube that it's a compilation of all the most awkward moments from last year's E3. Scott Johnson was talking about this on some of his podcasts, but it's brilliant.
One of my personal favorites is, I think it was when they were showing up off a prototype of the Kinect. This isn't from last year. It was just
a
E3
previous
in
year.
general. It was when they were showing off a prototype for the Kinect, and the Microsoft representative was all like, "You ever wonder what the bottom of an Avatar shoe looked like? Well, bam! There it is." This is weird.
Yeah, it's strange stuff always happens at E3.
So if any of you have any predictions or hopes that you want to see at E3, email us, podcast@lifeisleet.com. Just saying.
Or any reactions that you have to anything that happens at E3.
Yeah.
Send all of that to us. We'll totally read it on the air. We want to know what y'all think of it.
Here's this prediction from me is a little out there, considering that the company doesn't usually go to E3.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm willing to bet that a Blizzard rep is going to get up on stage or show up at E3 and show off Diablo 3 for consoles.
That might be a pretty safe bet. I think there is going to be a Blizzard presence there, and I think there usually isn't. But I do think that
there usually isn't, because they usually opt for like BlizzCon.
Yeah.
Instead. Let's see here. I'm trying to think of what else there could be.
Well, something that I know we're not going to be hearing about is that we at least can't expect Square Enix to have anything for Final Fantasy 15 or Kingdom Hearts 3. We do know that they're going to talk about the Kingdom Hearts 2.5 HD remix, but
that's it.
They also came out and said that they're working on FF15 and Kingdom Hearts 3, but don't expect them to have them there.
Yeah. I know that we're going to see the new Zelda.
Right.
Because Shigeru Miyamoto himself said that it's going to be at E3 this year.
Yeah.
I have a friend who's hoping for a new Metroid game.
Mm-hmm.
That does sound like that's something that may happen, maybe. But yeah, if you have any predictions or hopes, email us, do something of that sort.
Yep. Get in touch with us. You can tweet us at LifeIsLeet. You can email us, podcast@lifeisleet.com. Any of that, with any predictions, any reactions to what actually happens at the event, send it all to us. We'll talk about it on the show.
And of course, I'll be monitoring E3 coverage as much as I can, so...
Yep.
Yeah, there's that. Next thing that I have is Mario Kart 8 sold 1.2 million units over its first weekend, which is a lot.
That's pretty impressive.
considering how many Wii U's are actually sold right now.
Yeah. Well, probably a lot of people ended up getting a Wii U for Mario Kart 8. That wouldn't surprise me. Probably a lot of people ended up getting what I got, which was the bundle that has Mario Kart 8, plus the deal where you get another game for free when you register the game, which I got the Zelda Wind Waker HD. I still haven't had a chance to play it yet. But, so yeah, I'm pretty pleased with how well it sold, and it's definitely a great game. Have you managed to pick it up yet?
No.
Ah, lame.
Still don't have enough money.
Yeah.
Just barely short.
Well, at the same time that Nintendo announced those sales figures for Mario Kart 8, they also talked about or released the sales figures for all the other Mario Kart games going back to the Super Nintendo, Super Mario Kart for the Super Nintendo. The best-selling one was actually Mario Kart Wii, which sold over 35.5 million units.
That makes sense. A lot of people bought Wii's. So.
Yeah, the Wii was kind of a phenomenon. Behind that was Mario Kart DS, which is still one of, if not the best-selling handheld platforms, not counting the 3DS. And then behind that, you've got Mario Kart 64, you've got Mario Kart 7 for the 3DS, then Super Mario Kart, then Mario Kart Double Dash for the GameCube, and then my personal favorite before Mario Kart 8, Mario Kart Advance for the GBA.
Or Mario Kart Super Circuit, whichever of the two.
Yeah, that's right. The article that we have here says Mario Kart Advance, but it is Mario Kart Super Circuit. You're right. But yeah, I'd have a hard time saying that Mario Kart 8 isn't the best in the entire franchise. It's that good a game. So
I do really want to get it at some point.
Well, you get it.
And I will probably play it profusely.
We've got to race sometime, and we'll totally share highlights of some of the races that we have on the YouTube page for the show. That's Life is Leet on YouTube. So we'll obviously post whenever that happens. So go check that out.
Okay. Next thing, Borderlands the PreSequel has a release date for October 14th, and it has a trailer. And the trailer is just what you'd expect out of a Borderlands trailer: shooting, dubstep, joy puking,
claptrap.
Yes, those things. I'm excited.
Oh yeah.
I don't care about the number of people complaining that it isn't on next gen or complaining that it should be DLC for Borderlands 2. I don't care. It's more Borderlands. I'll play it. More
Borderlands is always a good thing. I need to pick up Borderlands 2 and get back to working on that again now that I've got time. It's a great game. I'm definitely looking forward to the pre-sequel.
PreSequel. That's an interesting title. Creative though.
It's a series that has kind of a unique brand of humor.
Interesting sense of humor.
Yeah, it doesn't take itself seriously in any way at all, really. As evidenced if you're watching the trailer, which we're showing right now, by the moon dance break.
Dubstep on the moon. I don't think that needs any more explanation.
I don't think there is an explanation for it, even if it needed one. So yeah, that's a thing. I'm looking forward to that. That's coming out. Yeah, coming out October 14th in the States, October 17th internationally for the 360, the PS3, and for Windows.
Which is what I'm going to be getting it for.
Yep.
Because PC is better than everything. Pretty much. Lastly, from what I have, finally we have more stuff about Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire.
Yes.
The One magazine link leaked.
Koro.
Yes, the One magazine.
Yes.
That does things involving Japanese video games.
Yes, and
it's leaked, and I literally found out right this morning because I got home from, I was doing something outdoors.
Yep.
And I loaded up Facebook, was browsing through it, saw that Korokoro leaked, and I was like, what?
Just what?
What? But yeah, we have new Mega evolutions of the rest of the two starters from Ruby and Sapphire.
Mm-hmm.
We have links to all these images in the show notes.
Yeah.
If you really want to check it out.
These are all via Cerebi.net.
Yeah. We have new legendary forms, which, whoops. I think I've made...
We'll fix that.
We'll fix this.
We'll have proper links to all these in the show notes.
Don't worry, guys. I got this. And then we also have redesigned characters galore, as I put it in the show notes.
Oh, yes.
We have the main antagonists redesigned, some of which are kind of cool. Others are like, what? The main characters got a redesign. Not too much of a redesign. And then we just have the game's final boss. If he is going to be the final boss this time.
Yep.
But yeah, there's that. We'll probably see this at E3 as well.
Yep, probably. Well, I'd hope that we get to see or hear something about it. That would definitely be really cool.
Well, they showed off Pokemon X and Y at E3 last year.
Mm-hmm.
Which was definitely something different.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
I'm still 100% hyped up for Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Those, they're gonna be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so excited for those.
Moving on. I fixed it, guys.
All right, cool. We've got it under control. Don't worry, we've got it.
I totally just did put the wrong link in the show notes. What are you talking about?
No, clearly not. We'll fix that in post.
I already did fix it.
Yeah, anyway. A bit more Pokemon news moving on. The U.S. National Championships for the Pokemon trading card game and video game are going to be broadcast on Twitch.tv. Those are happening in July 4th through 6th in Indianapolis. There's, of course, the video game tournament and the trading card game tournament. For the TCG tournament, you have to have accumulated a certain number of, what are they called, play points to be able to enter. But I think the video game tournament is just open for any X and Y players. The broadcast schedule is, we'll have obviously a link to this in the show notes again, but the broadcast schedule real quick. On the 5th, from 12 to 5 in the afternoon, will be the video game tournament. And then from 5 to 9 will be the card game. And then on the 6th, from 9 a.m. until 2, it's going to be the card game again. And then from 2 to 5 will be the video game tournament. And all participants at the event will receive a shiny Mamoswine for Pokemon X and Y. They've usually given away or distributed an event Pokemon at the video game championships, and they're doing that again. So if you are going to be able to go to that over that weekend, that's something you can look forward to. And if anyone who listens to this show ends up going, get in touch with us. We'd love to hear about your experiences. Send us an email or record some audio or whatever you feel like and send it to us. podcast@lifeisleet.com is where you can get in touch with us for that. And we'll recap that obviously after the fact, but we will both be in Utah that weekend for Nerdtacular. So I don't know how much of it we'll actually be able to watch, but it'll probably also be online for streaming afterwards. So you can either watch it live or you can check it out that way. Either way, that's definitely going to be pretty cool to check out. Moving on now to Blizzard news to finish off the video game news for this week. The Friends and Family Alpha for Warlords of Draenor has finally launched. Mostly podcasters and community influencers, quote unquote, are what they've been giving out alpha access to so far. So people who are noted streamers, people like Scott Johnson who do big WoW podcasts, those are the sort of people who are getting in so far. And from what they've said, it is still very alpha-ish, and more so than usual for Blizzard, it seems like, because you've got the Heroes of the Storm alpha, but that actually feels like a very polished game, whereas reportedly the Warlords Draenor Alpha feels still very much alpha.
This is the first time that we've had a WoW alpha that Blizzard has not actually been super strict about keeping under wraps, because I've seen people streaming and making videos of it around the internet.
Yeah, it hasn't been under the same sort of NDA that previous Friends of Fountain Alphas have been under. People have been streaming and talking about it. So it is kind of neat to see. And hopefully this means that we'll be hearing more about a beta coming up pretty soon. I think my prediction was that we'd have heard by now about a beta. I'm not going to count this. I'm going to say that I've just missed that. But I'm still pretty certain that we will have a beta before BlizzCon in November. But hopefully that means that we're looking at maybe a holiday season launch for the expansion, which it would be on schedule for all the other expansion releases.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So yeah, hopefully that's the case, because we've still been hearing more and more about what's going to be coming. We've been hearing more about garrisons, been seeing more of the new character models, which look absolutely amazing. So I'm just getting more and more excited for this.
Of course, I'm probably not going to be able to run the new character models because I haven't updated the parts in this computer for a while.
Oh, we'll see. I think they are still trying to make it so that even older computers, like quote unquote older, within the last few years, should still be able to run the new character models. So we'll see. But
yeah, plus my computer is still able to run WoW on high graphics settings.
Oh yeah. So yeah, you should be fine. And
I think I should be fine.
Yeah, and we'll find out more about this obviously once we get into the beta and get closer to release, get closer to the 6.0 patch. So we'll once or if either of us gets into the beta, obviously we'll talk about that on here. One item of World of Warcraft news that's kind of been a bit of a big deal. I don't know, but one of the pets that you've been able to buy on the Blizzard online store, one of the non-combat pets, is the Guardian Cub. And what's made that one unique is that it's tradable in-game. Once you buy it and add it to your account, it's not bound to your account, so you can sell it in the auction house or trade it to other players. And so that's kind of been Blizzard's... It's been seen, at least, kind of, as Blizzard's answer to the gold selling market, to give a way for players to turn some of their real money into in-game gold. I mean, obviously you can't go the other way, not without breaking the EULA. But the Guardian Cub is going to be going into the quote-unquote Blizzard archive on June 18, which means that after that date you won't be able to buy it anymore from the Blizzard store. And we don't know yet whether or not that means it's going away permanently. We don't know if they're going to be bringing out another non-combat pet that's tradable. We don't know if that's just going away entirely for the time being. But we do know that it costs $9.99 or $10, $10.76 including tax. At least that's what it was for me. Probably differs depending on where you live.
Yeah, it was like that for me too.
But if you don't have it yet and you want to get it, you've got till June 18th to pick it up before it goes into the archive. And I mean, it could be a thing like the Disney Vault, is that what it's called? That they put all their old films into, and then every several years they bring out a new edition of it and charge ridiculous amounts. So it could be something like that, or it might not. We don't know. All we can say is, if you don't have the Guardian Cub yet, you want it, get it now while it's still up. Moving on finally to Hearthstone. Ranked Season 3 has started as of, I believe, this past Monday, I think it was. So if you reached rank 20 last season, you should have the Black Temple card back in your game. That should be selectable in the options menu for you. And this season's name is Colors of the Rainbow, and the card back is a rainbow. yeah, it's a rainbow pattern. So I for one am a really big fan of the Black Temple card back. That's probably going to be the one that I use for a while. I do like the Pandaria kind of Mogu style card back, but I think I think I like the Black Temple one and the Pandaria one better than this one. That's just
Why does this remind me so much of the pony level in Diablo 3?
I don't know. We're showing you a little bit of the what the card back looks like here if you're watching it on video. Yeah, it's all right. I'm not a huge fan. I'm sure there are people who will like it, but and I'm gonna get up to rank 20 to get it anyway.
I should consider doing that in Hearthstone. Just actually playing it, but then again, I don't have very many cards, so.
Yeah, well, you don't need a very strong deck or very many cards just to get up to rank 20. From rank 25 up to rank 20, when you lose, you don't lose any stars or your rank. So it's basically just how long does it take you to win enough games to get up to rank 20. So that does definitely help. So it's definitely worth doing. The card backs that you get from it, some of the card backs you get from it are pretty cool. So if that's your thing, definitely worth checking out and get started on that. This season will last through the end of this month, and then we'll have a new season and card back, and the cycle continues. And lastly, obviously we've got the Curse of Naxxramas expansion, I guess you could call it, coming up sometime in probably the next few months for Hearthstone. And another new card for that has been unveiled. This time it's a Warlock card called the Void Caller. It's a 3/4 for 4 mana, and its effect is a death rattle that puts a demon from your hand into the battlefield. And what's really interesting about that is that it ignores it ignores any battle cry effects that card might have. It sounds like you get to choose which card to play, and then any battle cry effect it has is ignored, which for Warlock especially is useful because a lot of Warlock cards have a requirement, a battle cry requirement of discard a random card from your hand or do damage to yourself, that sort of thing. So being able to play cards like the Doom Guard without the Doom Guard's battle cry is discard 2 random cards. So being able to play that without spending any mana and without having to discard anything from your hand, that's pretty powerful. And it is kind of high risk but high reward, because you may or may not have any demons in your hand to play, or you may have something like a Doom Guard in your hand to play, or a Pit Lord or something like that. But that fits in pretty well with the Warlock class. So that's if you were hoping that the Warlock Zoo deck was going to be going away anytime soon, well, sorry to disappoint you, because it looks like this is just going to make it even worse. So I think that's pretty much going to do it for video games. So let's move on now to anime. And I haven't been watching a whole lot this week. Nisekoi, or the first season at least of Nisekoi, has ended. Tonari no Sekikun has ended. So right now I'm mostly just watching One Week Friends and Sailor Moon while waiting for Sailor Moon Crystal to start up. And we have a bit of news about that coming up pretty soon in the show once we get to the news. What about you, Aaron? Been able to watch anything lately?
I have not been watching things lately. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh well. Life happens. You get busy. But you can get caught up sometime.
Things.
Yep, stuff.
Anyway,
yeah. We've obviously talked a lot about the upcoming Rurouni Kenshin movies. And just recently a trailer was posted by the official Rurouni Kenshin YouTube channel that is kind of a recap of the first movie, as well as a bit of a teaser for the upcoming movies that come out on August 1st and September 13th in Japan. Those are opening pretty soon. And if you haven't seen the first movie, or you want to just refresh yourself with what happened in it, then there's a trailer up. And if you understand Japanese, at least, because I don't think there are any subtitles for it, but it's still pretty cool. You get to watch Kenshin swashbuckling and beating guys up, which, what more do you want from anything Rurouni Kenshin? And at the end of the trailer, there is a bit of teaser footage for the upcoming films. And again, the first of the two sequels, Rurouni Kenshin Kyoto Inferno, comes out in Japan on August 1st, and then Rurouni Kenshin The Legend Ends, and it comes out on September 13. Also announced recently was that there is going to be a new Rurouni Kenshin manga written by the author of Rurouni Kenshin, Nobuhiro Watsuki, and we knew that it was going to focus on the story of Shishio, who is the main bad guy in the Rurouni Kenshin Kyoto arc. And we do know that it is going to include the story of how Shishio and his partner, girlfriend, whatever you want to call her, Yumi, it's going to talk about how they met. And that's going to be premiering... Oh, let me bring it up here. Why didn't I put that in the show notes? Come on, internet. Great radio, I know. Here we go. So yeah, on July 4th is when the August issue of the manga magazine Jump SQ will be coming out. And that issue will have the first chapter of the Shishio spin-off. It's going to talk about it's going to be 2 chapters. It'll also talk about how the Juppon Gatana, or the 10 Swords organization, was formed. I really hope that they bring that over here, because that definitely sounds like something that I want to read. Definitely worth checking out. Moving on to Sailor Moon Crystal, said that there'd be a bit of news about that, and boy was there news about that. We now have a trailer for Sailor Moon Crystal. We get to see some of the actual animation from the series. We get to hear some of the actual voice acting. We get to see Usagi and Luna, and something that's taken a bit for me to get used to is how different the animation style really is from the low-budget early 90s style of the original. But it definitely looks awesome. I am still just incredibly excited for this. And again, that's premiering on July 5th at 7 p.m. I think that's Japan time. I'm not certain on that. It is going to be streaming on Crunchyroll. I think it's also going to be streaming on Viz's Neon Alley, which is through Hulu. Not 100% sure on that, and I don't think we've found more details or been given more details on that just yet. Obviously, we'll report on those on here when we have them, but that is coming up really soon. I'm still so excited for it. We also found out this week that the theme song will be composed by none other than Revo, also known as Linked Horizon. So the dude that did the Attack on Titan opening themes and also the score and soundtrack for Bravely Default. He's been getting a lot of work lately. This is... I'm definitely interested to see what he does for the theme song of a shoujo manga or a shoujo anime after what he's already known for. So yeah, that's Sailor Moon Crystal. That's coming up pretty soon, just a bit less than a month until that debuts. Again, July 5th is when that starts. New episodes on the 1st and 3rd Saturday of each month. And lastly, the Pokémon Adventures manga, which has been running for quite a while in Japan and brought over here. Sorry about this. Aaron's having some technical difficulties, so I'm just trying to cover for him. Anyway, the Pokémon Adventures manga series has been running for a while. It's been brought over here, parts of it at least. And the X and Y adaptation of the series, which it's more of an they're more an adaptation, easy for me to say, of the video game. They're entirely disconnected from like the anime series. They follow a bit of a different story from the video games themselves, but anyway, the series based on Pokemon X and Y are going to be coming to the Perfect Square imprint of Viz here in North America. Volume 1 is going to be coming out in December, and it follows the story of the trainer named X, who was a child prodigy, a child tournament prodigy in the Kalos region, but becomes kind of a recluse when the media attention gets to be too much for him. So, and when his hometown of Vaniville is attacked by Xerneas and Yveltal, and Team Flare is involved, that is what finally gets him to get out of the house and get back into Pokemon training, apparently. So again, that's going to be coming over to the United States in December. The first volume will be coming out then. It'll be both in physical and digital formats. There's a tablet app, Perfect Square tablet app for Viz's kids manga imprint, and that's probably where you'll be able to get that and check that out. I'm going to pause real quick here so that we can try to bring Aaron back in. Let's see if we can do this.
Hello? Hello?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
You know what? It's been a few minutes since either of us. Yes, I can hear you now.
You can hear me.
I can hear you, yes.
Okay, good.
Alright, and apparently our audio cut out for a little while, so I'm going to stop the recording real quick and go back, and let's see here. We're sorry about this, people. Technical difficulties.
This is very professional.
Okay, I am going to trim right there, and we're gonna just have to go back and start the anime news again because none of what we were talking about got recorded.
Oh boy.
So yeah, we'll edit. We'll fix this in post. I'll go back, edit it on YouTube. We'll get this taken care of and sorted out. So
magic.
Yep. So we'll yeah. Sorry about that, people. Okay, so going back now to the top of the anime news, starting... Oops, wait for it. Okay, starting now. Anyway, yeah, sorry about that, people. We had a bit of technical difficulties. We're recording again. We had a bit of an audio cutout, but it's fixed now. We're getting back into it, and we are getting back into it by talking about... the Rurouni Kenshin movies. The sequels are the sequels to the movie that came out in 2012 are going to be coming out in just a few months here. The first one, Kyoto Inferno, comes out on August 1st, and the second one, what was it? Rurouni Kenshin: The Legend Ends comes out on September 13. And the official Rurouni Kenshin YouTube channel posted a trailer that's a 5-minute recap of the first movie and has a bit of teaser footage for the upcoming 2 movies. It doesn't look like it has subtitles, but still definitely worth checking out, if for nothing else than watching Kenshin kick butt in it, because that's what he does. And what else do you want from anything at all, Rurouni Kenshin? So we'll have a link to that in the show notes. Definitely go check that out. And again, the 2 movies are going to be coming out in Japan on August 1st and September 13. I really still hope that they bring those over here in some official form at some point. It would be a huge mistake for them not to, because they would make so much money off of it. Speaking of Rurouni Kenshin, we've talked before about the upcoming manga spin-off by the author of the original manga, Nobuhiro Watsuki, we knew that it was going to talk about or be focused on Shishio, who is the main bad guy in the Kyoto arc of the original manga and anime and of these upcoming movies. And we know now that it is going to be a 2-chapter miniseries. It's going to start on the August issue of the Jump SQ manga magazine, which comes out on July 4th. And it's going to include the stories of how Shishio and his partner or girlfriend Yumi met, and of how the Jupongatana, or 10 Swords organization, was formed. So those are both things that I've wondered about when I've watched and read the series, so it's going to be cool to see what the actual backstory to those things is. And hopefully that as well will be brought over to the United States at some point. The Rurouni Kenshin Restoration mini reboot was brought over here, so hopefully this will be as well. Right, maybe as a bonus in a volume or something like that. But I really hope that it comes over here somehow, because it's definitely something that I want to read. We teased that we do have a bit of news about Sailor Moon Crystal, and saying that it's a bit of news about it doesn't do it justice, because what we now have is a trailer for the new series. We get to see and hear Luna, we get to see and hear Usagi, we get to see the new animation style, which is taking some getting used to because of just how different it is compared to the early 90s low budget look of the original series. They were basically making the original anime on a shoestring before they knew that it would blow up like it did. But it looks excellent. I'm still so freaking excited for this new series. We also found out that the theme song is going to be composed by none other than Revo of Linked Horizon. Dude, what composed the Attack on Titan opening themes, the Bravely Default soundtrack. He's been getting a lot of work lately, so I'm excited for that. I'm excited for the actual series itself. The trailer is awesome. It's all awesome. I can't wait. Less than a month until that.
Everywhere, isn't he?
He is
all over the place.
He is. He's been doing a lot lately. So yeah, the obviously again Sailor Moon Crystal debuts on July 5th at 7 p.m. what I think is Japan time. And it's going to stream worldwide on Nico Nico Doga with subtitles. It's also going to be streaming on Crunchyroll, but we don't know the details of what regions that'll be in. It'll probably also be streaming on Hulu and Neon Alley through Viz's licensing agreement, which also includes Sailor Moon Crystal. So there will be plenty of ways for you to watch it once it debuts, and obviously I'm sure I'll spend plenty of time on here talking about it. I'll try not to take up too much time with it though. And lastly, for anime news, actually manga news really, you may or may not have heard of the Pokemon Adventures manga series. It's an ongoing series. It started back when Pokemon had pretty much just come out. And it follows not really the story of the main anime, but kind of as an offspin of the video game story.
It kind of takes some creative liberties with the story of the games.
Yeah. But anyway, that parts of it at least have been brought over here. Viz's Perfect Square imprint, which is their kids manga label, has brought a lot of volumes of that over here. And Viz announced this past week that they have acquired the rights to do the same for the X and Y arc of the Pokemon Adventures series. And Volume 1 of that is going to be coming out both in physical and digital in December. And it kind of follows the story of the Pokemon trainer X, who was a bit of a child prodigy, but wasn't very good at handling it. And so he becomes kind of a recluse until his hometown of Vanillville is attacked by the two legendary Pokemon from that region and by Team Flare. So that,
Yeah, when I said that the manga takes creative liberties, I wasn't kidding.
well, yes, it's loosely based on the story of the games. You've got sort of the same characters, you've got the same locations. It follows the same rough progression as the game, as of going through the region. But they do tell their own story, and they are pretty good. If that's the sort of thing you think you'd be interested in, it's definitely worth checking out. If you're a Pokemon fan, if you like even just that genre of manga, you might still enjoy it. So that's definitely, well, probably anyway, worth checking out. And that's pretty much going to do it for this episode of Life is Leet. If you want to download...
No one more thing, unfortunately.
Yeah, no one more thing this week. We'll be bringing that back, hopefully next week, once we're able to find something for it. Soon.
Trademark.
Yes. If you want to download the show, if you want to find show notes, which will have links to everything we talked about in this episode, if you want links to our Facebook, Twitter, Google+, YouTube, RSS, iTunes, all of that, you can find every single one of those things at our website, which is lifeisleet.com. Whenever we stream the episodes, those usually start on Saturday afternoons, Arizona time. We'll post on Facebook and Twitter with an announcement of when we will be starting that. That will be on that website as well. That'll be at lifeisleet.com/live. We've got a chat room there. We've got the video live stream, so go check that out and watch our social media for announcements of when that's going to happen. I'm Jesse. I write just about all this thing, so if anything in it is wrong, blame me. All the stuff that I do is at jbhanna on Twitter or at jbhanna.net online. Aaron streams things every once in a while at twitch.tv/Plato0, that's Plato and the number 0. And I stream things sometimes too at twitch.tv/jbhanna. Watch our Facebook page or Twitter feed for the show for announcements of when either of us is going to get online and stream stuff. We'll announce it there. If you want to contact the show with feedback, comments, suggestions, audio attachments, recommendations of stuff for us to play, read, watch, listen to, whatever, send all that to us at podcast@lifeisleet.com. That's going to do it for this week. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. We're sorry about the technical difficulties, but we'll get that cleaned up. For me, for Aaron, everyone in the sound of my voice, until next time, take care.